Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and we finally found a Jurassic World survival figure that we're going to be doing a review of. And this is the brachauchenius, probably one of the best figures in the lineup. I think it's this and the Dimorphodon, I'd say, are probably the best figures. But I was at Target today, and I finally found this figure, and also something else that's quite a bit bigger we're also going to be doing a review of soon. But, yeah, this is the first survival figure. I've only seen two survival figures so far, this and the Pteranodon, which they also had there. But, yeah, super excited to finally get this figure. See there? Back in the box, you can see the butchered Afrovenator, the Ceratosaurus, and the Pteranodon, which I also saw there. You'll see the back. Again, this packaging is really nice. Honestly, again, the survival line, I think, has, like, really good packaging and stuff. It's just, like, the figures can be questionable at times. But, yeah, let's open this up. This is, like, $15, which I'm really happy. The prices are going back down. But, again, a survival line. But, yeah, they kind of started with the rebirth line. I think it's really cool. I'm going to cut those wires there, and we can get the actual brachauchenius figure. Man, this thing looks really good. And of course, as usual, Mattel slaps the tail in the back of the packaging, where it's hard to get out without damaging the packaging, so give me a second to do that. Okay, was finally able to get this tail out of the packaging. I had to rip it up quite a bit. It was, like, really attached onto the back packaging. We don't need that anymore. We can just attach the tail, which honestly also looks pretty nice. We can just clip this in to the figure, which I think it just goes in like that, and then it rotates like that. But boom, we have our brachauchenius figure, which, let me just adjust my lighting to make it actually look kind of half decent. But yeah, really, this is just a creature I'm really excited for. I always love marine reptiles. Really nice to see some more. And yeah, let's take a closer look at this figure. First thing, this is probably the best pliosaur head we've gotten on a figure so far. Just absolutely beautiful. Of course, there's articulation on the neck and mouth, but that's tied to the action feature. And inside the mouth, you can see it's actually sculpted really nicely. They didn't paint like, all the way back there, but I mean, actually, that goes really deep. If I were to like stick it all the way back there, my finger can go pretty far into its mouth. But yeah, see the knobbly detailing on the underside. You can see they actually did silver paint. I almost wish they would have did the silver on the top. I feel like that would have been cool to see as well. But yeah, the silver on the underside looks nice. See where the mechanism, kind of like the whale texturing underneath, really nice. On the top, pretty good, just kind of knobbly texturing. Again, they do put a lot of tears in the flippers, which I think also looks cool as like some battle-worn tearness. It doesn't look as like absurd as some of the Chaos Theory ones where they had like a lot of like damage. And also, it doesn't look like a freaking mutant like most of them. In fact, I'd say the only complaint I actually have about this figure, and that feels a little bit mutant, is the back flipper being a bit too big. I definitely like, again, it kind of just looks really big, especially compared to the front ones. But even then, that's not that big of an issue. I'd say even if you like put them both down all the way, it actually doesn't look that bad. So yeah, I do think, again, the back flippers do look a hint too big, but otherwise, this figure's pretty much perfect in my opinion. So yeah, again, now that we've looked at it, let's do actually the action feature, which there's a button on top. I actually just really like the simple button. I know they're doing the tail controls, which I think are probably the second best, but man, I just like a good old button on top of the back, where you can see it glow. I'm going to turn my lights off so we can see the glow right here. Oh, you can see the glowing really good already. But and the light kind of pulsated. I think it just looks good. It's honestly more of like a vibrant glow, like in person. A little bit darker green. But again, I think it actually works on this guy. It kind of looks like a bioluminescent marine reptile. I think it looks random on a lot of the other ones, but that's why I think it just works. Honestly, it would be cool if I could get like a little bit of light in here, so maybe that we could get it to look like, at least see the face a little bit. Like I have this like glow in the dark stuff right here. Just chomp on that real fast. But it just looks really good. Let me just turn these lights back on. Sorry about that. You got to get the right setting. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, there you go. Now we have the light. So yeah, let's move on to the size comparison. Let me grab my tape measure real fast. This figure measures in at about a foot long, actually. I'd say maybe slightly like 1 foot, 1 foot and a like quarter of an inch or half an inch over. It's actually like a pretty decent sized figure. And then in height, if we're measuring it in this position, it's like, okay, kind of hard on my light in the way. But yeah, it measures in at about 5 inches tall. So if we're counting like just the body, I'd say more like 3 inches. So yeah, this is a pretty decently sized figure. Also, again, these really long flippers actually help it to stand really tall. So if we were to compare it to a few things. First off, here's it with a raptor and human figure, of course. You can see the raptor gets dwarfed in size by it. Like, of course, you can kind of see. And then human figure. Probably should put it to the side a little bit more. But yeah, you can see these guys scale up pretty nicely with it. You can even have it kind of chomp down on the human. Like most Jurassic figures, it doesn't have a strong enough bite for it to actually hold a human in its mouth, but you can kind of get it to hold one like that. Anyways, next, pretty much the rest of these comparisons are aquatics, just to let you guys know. First, here's the Gryphosuchus. I don't know why, I just feel like that could be a nice thing to compare it to. I'm hoping the Stomatasuchus is about the same size as the Grypo, or even bigger would be cool, but yeah. Let's see. Really nice compared to it. We're going to save the obvious ones for the end. Of course, here's it with the Elasmosaurus figure, which outsizes it by quite a bit, though. The Elasmosaurus, it's because it has a long neck. You could have, like, brachauchenius hunt this thing, probably. Next, here's it with the Jurassic World Gigantic Thrasher Parasaurus, which, again, I saw this guy at a discount store for $12, and I was kind of tempted to pick up a second one, because $12 is a great deal for this. Easily one of the best Mattel figures. But, yeah, here's Parasaurus next to brachauchenius. Of course, Parasaurus is quite a bit bigger, because, well, I mean, it's a Gigantic Thrasher. Then here's a few smaller comparisons. Here's it with the Dacosaurus, Taurovenistus, Plesiosaurus, and Nothosaurus. A whole bunch of marines, like Nothosaurus, it's the Dino Reveal version. You have Dacosaurus. We have Plesiosaurus, which, of course, could be a nice little snack. And then after that, we have Taurovenistus, another creature with kind of bigger back flippers, except this animal actually is known to have, like, quite a bit bigger flat back flippers, and also I think it just doesn't look as exaggerated as it does on this guy, but again, I don't think it looked actually horrible on this one. Anyways, now for, like, the obvious size comparisons. Here's the other Pliosaurus. First, here is the Lioplurodon. Again, we're getting another Lioplurodon for some reason, but yeah, this guy, I think, actually, yeah, the brachauchenius is actually longer than Lioplurodon by, like, an inch, I'd say. But, yeah, Lioplurodon has more of, like, that kind of position. Let me actually put all the flippers down more like how it is on brachauchenius, though they're a little bit closer, but like Lioplurodon is definitely more slender. And of course the flippers are moving. I do have to say these have a little bit of weaker flipper joints. Next, here's it with Kronosaurus, which again, Kronosaurus actually also is like an inch shorter, so brachauchenius is a smidge bit bigger than these guys. Which is again weird. Why they're not releasing Kronosaurus as a Gigantic Thrasher when they're doing another Pliosaur they've already done. Since Kronosaurus is really small, it should actually be a Gigantic Thrasher size figure, but they're giving it to Lioplurodon, which is an animal that naturally should be in this size range. I don't know, find it weird. But yeah, just comparing the head sculpt, this is definitely the best and like most accurate. Lioplurodon is probably the most far off. It doesn't really look like a Lioplurodon head too much. It doesn't even have the interlocking teeth. Kronosaurus has it, but again, they're like the before the rubber ones, and then also just again the head sculpt's not as refined as on the brachauchenius, which again I think has an absolutely stellar head sculpt. Also, yes, it does have teeth going back in the mouth. You just can't see them because they're covered up. They kind of stopped doing the interlocking thing and just kind of did small teeth in the back of the mouth, which again I was kind of thinking it's going to be similar to a Kronosaurus, where again it doesn't look like it has a second row more teeth on the bottom, but it does. So yeah. And then, of course, for one final comparison, you can't be reviewing a marine reptile without comparing it to a Mosasaurus of some sort. This is the Bite and Blast one, because I don't feel like getting the real one off the shelf. But, yeah, here's the Bite and Blast Mosasaurus next to it, of course, massive. Hope we get a Tylosaurus. That would be freaking awesome to get a reimagined Tylo that's, like, similar in size. But, yeah. Again, Bite and Blast Mosasaurus, really nice. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So for my final thoughts on this brachauchenius figure, this is one of the good survival figures. That's as simple as I'm going to say. One of the best survival figures. Really happy they're doing more marine reptiles. And again, I hope the marine reptiles we get in the future, such as the Dunkleosteus, which I mean isn't a reptile but still a marine creature. The of course the Stomatasuchus, prehistoric croc. I'm honestly really hoping that one's good. The Champsosaurus and the Lioplurodon, I also hope are really good. Hopefully plan on getting all those figures. Again, it also looks pretty nice, kind of like the flippers splayed out. They're also pretty rubbery, I'd say. Oh, also before I go, here's the scan code for the brachauchenius, because I know I would forget that super easily. But yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say. This is just a really nice figure. I mean, it looks really close to the animal, and again, I think they didn't go too far with the exaggerations. I hope Wave 2 are more like this figure, where they're just, again, more natural instead of freaks of nature. But yeah, again, really cool. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.